Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Space Engineers. We are going along here in this particular episode. We're going to try to we're going to work on moving our escape pod over to the temporary base. As you see over there, I can't quite read it. This is all in voiceover again because I was recording this at my wife's house. And of course, I recorded pretty much all of this at my wife's house while she was sleeping. And so didn't get to talk about the 3 episodes here until the very end where I work on it. We need to work on the front here. I'm cleaning out some of the blocks so that we can get into the actual cockpit area and move around in there. I mean, we can jump into the seat and back and all that, but I won't be able to actually get up into it. As you see here, we have removed the survival kit. It is over at the base. Y'all saw me do that in the last episode. One, to get it over there where it's nice and safe. Secondly, to decrease the weight, which is why I'm also going to see about taking off this hydrogen thruster here. And we grind it down, and I try to it back up, and it says unknown technology. You must research it first. I had meant to turn off the progression, turn off the technology progression whenever I started this particular server, and so that we'd know how to do everything, but I didn't think of it at the time. So yeah, we still have to grind down and build a few things. You see, I'm scrolling through to see where are the thrusters. Where do I find a hydrogen thruster at? What do I have to build to be able to construct those? There's my thrusters. All the thrusters require that you build a control center of some sort, a cockpit. Cockpit or a command seat, or fortunately, as you see just to the right there, a remote control, which is how we're going to be flying this. And remote controls are already one of the things that are available for us. The command seats and all are the controls are something we already know how to build. So fortunately, that is what we're going to have to construct. Fly back over to the base and get the parts for it, for a small remote control. It'd be the first time I've flown a craft like this by remote control. I've used it, y'all remember back in one of the episodes where I built the retrieval ships, what was it, the Ugly Stick and I can't remember the name of the other one, the Ronco maybe? Yeah, the Ugly Stick and the Ronco, which were my two retrievals that I used to fly out, disengage the front of the ship and fly it out, the retrieval part, by remote control, and pick up some of the unknown signals. That was back when we were over on the Fiend Core server that we had done. As you see here, I am not paying attention to my hydrogen at all. I should have grabbed another hydrogen bottle and thrown it into my inventory, but I just wasn't thinking. This part here, I am playing around trying to figure out which one the front of the craft is and how to get it to turn that way. I'm going to edit this just a little bit because I spent about a minute looking through trying to figure out which is the front of the remote control here as I'm scrolling by. It finally dawned on me about the arrows there. I still had to turn it around a few times to make sure that the arrows were pointing the correct way, but I had the little white arrows that were pointing toward the front of the remote control, which were very important to have. That you got to make sure it's going the right way, or otherwise you'll be flying backwards, which, as you'll see, eventually we end up doing anyway. I really had some strange ideas with this particular craft and the control surfaces of it and all. But the big part that I was looking is that the build vision, build info will give you the information you need. One of the one of the overlays that it'll do is it'll show you what they call the front of the block, what the builders consider the front of the block, if it has one. I mean, some things like an armor block, your standard armor block doesn't have a front on it. I'm not sure what I was showing hydrogen tanks for on this particular one, why I was scrolling and looking through that. But talking about the remote control and the seat, that's how I'm going to be flying it. I perhaps was discussing that I was, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking there. This has been over a month now since this was recorded, back in the middle of November. I think it's actually November 12th, I think. So it's been slightly over a month. I'm talking about, okay, this is where I talk about all the different parts on the ship that I need to continue grinding down and rebuilding, so that I can try and get the, see, the beacon will open up all these antennas and stuff if I grind it down below functional and rebuild it. You'll see the little message come across the screen saying opened up new blocks. Now that it's down, I didn't have to take it to hack. I could have just took it below functional and it would have worked. There you go. By building beacon, you have unlocked new blocks. So it has unlocked all the ones that does now. Do not want to play around with the battery. Small conveyor that I can do the same for. I think that actually opens up some of the, there you go, built new blocks. I think that actually opens up some of the conveyor tubes. Also opens up some of the containers, I think. So, timer block. There's a number of pieces that I'm going to continue taking apart here. Let's see. Timer block doesn't unlock anything. But I don't need a timer block on here because the timer block was entirely for the beginning. It's just role-playing purposes when you land in this ship. It's what fires off the parachute eventually. So, yeah. Still looking around, seeing what different parts I can take off or fool with. I did not remove any other parts at the moment because I wasn't sure which ones held other parts together. For instance, I know that the seat up there, that flight seat, is the only thing holding that front landing gear on. But as soon as you remove the flight seat, that front landing gear will disconnect from the ship and fall. So, gyroscope is necessary. I always have the problem with gyroscopes is that they just do not look correct to me. The front side is what you're seeing right now with the two circles, the two rotating bits. It just, something about that tells me that, something in my brain says the one with the one eye looking forward should be the front of the ship. Should be the front of the gyroscope, sorry. And not the one with the two circles. It just aesthetically, my brain just doesn't work that way. It just doesn't tell me that's the correct side. One of the things I'm trying to do is, like I said, there we go. I'm looking at the overlays now. And you see the overlays throwing up things showing up, right, front, back, all those things. So that's what I'm looking for. And I see that the right side, now you get the blue front is pointing out forward right there. So that tells me that was the front. Always have to think about it because the two just, like I said, you'll see it pop up here in a second, except for the fact that I need more parts. I thought I had enough, but I did not. I thought I would get enough off the thruster, so we have to fly back over to base right quick. And this is where I'm suddenly realizing that I don't have enough jet fuel. I really need to start paying attention to my hydrogen there. And Keen really needs to start giving you more of a warning than like 2 seconds before you come crashing to the ground. Back the escape pod here, looking it over, figuring out what we're going to do. I was sitting there looking at the seat, realizing that I have 6 days of power, as you see in the bottom of the right. Um, and I was trying to figure out, I was doing this while the month, what mine theme wasn't on. So it's like some days I could get on, some days I couldn't. So I was basically going around removing everything I could from it that, well, turning off and removing everything I could from it that was using the power. We already taken out the survival kit back there, and that boosted the power from 2 days to 6 or 2 days to 8, whatever it was. Um, about the only thing I've got left that can be switched off is the gyroscope. And once we do that, you see now we got 12 days. So I figured that was enough. That would be well, actually 14 days now. So that was enough to keep us going. Although I haven't, it's so I'm not sure how the power stuff functions on this because when we were doing the Fiend Core server, we had those escape pods that said that they had 2 days of power, but they lasted for weeks and weeks. So I'm not sure how exactly that works with these kind of prefabs here. So I'm still looking at stuff that we need to move, looking at things that, that timer block can go, trying to figure out where I'm going to put additional thrusters, because right now I've got the 4 upward thrusters. I need to get, at least one front and back and left and right in order for that to function. And at this moment, I was looking at this was a great place to put a small cargo container. And I was having the wacky idea at that point that I was going to put the drill on the back of it, facing out the back. That it shouldn't have been any problem flying it, utilizing it, because I was not going to be flying it from first person, especially when I'm drilling. Not going to be flying from first person, so that should work fine. Um, and right here, I'll pull out a drill so I can see what kind of connector did it have. And as you see, it uses a small connector, the small box connector there, the yellow one. So that let me know that I needed to make sure when I put the cargo container here that it has a small connector coming out the back instead of the large like that one. Um, and I'm thinking that I'm going to have the connector that connects it to the station and all and empties it facing down, um, so that I can just have the station having a connector facing up. This will just fly over the top of it and connect with it that way. It's still a really weird idea because, like I said, it's well, we'll see. Whenever I later a little later, we'll see me try and do drilling and everything from reverse. I'm still not sure why I threw a medium container on here. You'll see me take it off, but then I put it back on. It's because it I couldn't remember if I had a large a large port facing down or not. So I repositioned it and rebuilt it to make sure that that's what was going on. Um, but yeah, it's kind of silly because all these things weigh as much. Like that wireframe container there weighs as much as if it was totally built. So I'm not sure why I'm doing that, and I'm hoping maybe that I took it off before I flew back to base with it, to save the weight and the make it easier to fly. Back at base, as you see, we're standing, well, not on base, but back at the pod, standing on top of it. So you see, I've started putting the atmospheric thrusters into place. I've knocked out a couple of blocks on the sides of it, on the slope, so that they can fit in and have them all facing out the correct way. Um, I figure one in each direction will get us started. As I go on, I will obviously want to put more in. Um, But the big thing is I decided not to continue building on to the parts of it because it's like, let's get it to base. Um, just get enough to get it flyable, get the thrusters and all put on it, and then fly it back over here to base before I start building the drill and all the rest. Let's try and minimize our flying back and forth. Still working on getting some parts done. As you see, we got some construction parts and motors and tubes. Using up a lot of iron, a little bit of silicon, a little bit of nickel, but a lot of iron. So we were working down this hole. This is where we started drilling down to put to an iron deposit so that we can get an iron mine made. It's only, as you see here, where is it? There's nickel over there, cobalt's over yonder. There you go, iron. It's only right at 4 meters down below where I am now. So that'll be a good place as well whenever I'm get the mining craft finished up, and I expect this will probably be where Mindfiend builds one of his big old drilling rigs to go down and get it. Loved watching those things. So yeah, let's get some more construction components built so that we can get all those parts that we need. See, iron and nickel is where we keep coming up short. I was about to fly back over yonder way, but let's not freeze to death while we are standing here and can get loaded back up. Right now, it's just a survival kit. On into the future a little ways, on further on, about a month past what you're seeing here, I've got a temporary base shelter built over there, and I need to put a med center, a medical facility. That's what we're missing right now. Get a med bay over, and I think we would do better. As you see, I'm getting a little bit of stuttering here as we go along, as it's loading in and having to load in the high level graphics that I've got everything set for. All right, now, do I have enough that we can actually finish this up? I know we got one engine over there completed. The one to the right of me, I believe, is completed. Hopefully I got enough to finish these other 3 up. Yep, we do. There we are. And so now it is flyable. I love Build Vision. Build Vision's the mod that I'm using to go along here and turn the thrusters off. I love Build Vision, all the different things, the way you can go in and change just about any setting on anything, change its name, its settings, turn it on and off, all that kind of stuff, without having to jump into a terminal or a command chair. You know, if I want to turn the thruster off, all I have to do is just reach down there and I guess either flip a switch or pull the cord out of the side. So I'm thinking that this is about where I am getting ready to start flying it back over. Let's turn this gyroscope back on. I think I'm going to hop in. I think that's what it is. I think we're ready to try the flight back to the temporary base, if I remember correctly. I'm just not sure whether or not. I think it takes me a little bit of time to figure out that I'm needing to actually click on the control there. Whether or not I've got that. Yep, I'm thinking that's how I get control, and now I have to set up the control bar across the bottom, get all the thrusters on it, get the landing gear and everything set up. So I am going to go through that. I know it takes me a few minutes to do that and get everything grouped up. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and edit through this little part and see y'all here in just a couple. We have got our control rows set up the way we wanted. It took me a second or two to get the gear, instead of turning the gear on and off, get the switch lock on the landing gear so that it just switches between locked and unlocked for a moment. And we're getting into third person, and we should be lifting off here in just a moment. Making sure our cameras are set up right. And yep, see, we still having an issue with the landing gear. Still got it set on and off instead of switch lock, which I need to come down. Come on, one more. There you go. And now we're all happy. Let's see how it's going to do. Turn on the engines and off we fly. There we are. Turn it around, get it flying over here. First time I've ever flown an escape pod. Never have done that before. In the past, I have always um, just left it as I guess, a monument to my coming down and landing on the planet. But now we are deciding we're going to turn it into our first ship, since it's well, kind of the easiest thing. It's not the best of ships. You'll see in the next episode or so where I start mining with it and all. And it's not the best at it. I mean, it's only got the small carrier on the back, small cargo container and all, and not the greatest amount of payload or carrying capacity or lifting capacity. But as it goes, it ain't too bad for a almost free ship. All we've had to do to get it up off the ground is put a gyroscope, a remote control, and the directional thrusters there. Coming in for landing. There's no down thruster, which works great for whenever you're actually on a planet surface and you can just have the gravity pull you down. Okay, let's go a little bit further, land this puppy. Trying to get it as close as I can so it'll land not level with me, but level with the landing field here. Turn my engines off, and we can hop out. And as I say, any landing you can get away from, any landing you can walk away from is a good landing. Good pod. Now we're just going to need to put a connector on the back of it over there so we've got some place to power it up. Yay, happy dance, happy dance. Got some place to power it up, and then we can start working on the drill and everything and get it into a actual useful craft. Nice. All right, what are we doing here now? I can't remember what it was I was looking at. Maybe turning off the blinking lights, the antenna? Yeah, I want to turn that antenna radius down, I believe. Making sure everything's turned off. That's what I'm doing. Making sure that everything that can be turned off is turned off. We'll leave the antenna on so that we've got the broadcast for the ore detector, because that'll let us see a bit further into the ground than our drill does. And while we're not sitting and charging it up, that will get our power capacity down. Do I hop into the ship? Yep, 14 days now. So 14 days worth of power. And this is still about halfway through my period of time waiting for Mind Fiend to get back online. When he was away from the important world here, having to deal out with the real world, and emptying my inventory so I can log out and go curl up with the dogs and get some sleep, since I'm almost certainly recording this at the wife's house. I also wasn't sure yet whether a seat would actually save your inventory or not. It will in our last group that we did, but that was with Industrial Overhaul. It doesn't do it in vanilla. So we will see you next time when we spend some more time with the ship.